Hello students, today I would like to explain you the first lesson in your supplementary reader, that is Moments. The title of this lesson is The Lost Child by Mulkras Anand, and this is a nice story. It gives us a wonderful message, and I would like to brief you the story before I explain you in detail. And in this story, uh, the writer wants us to explain or convey the message: the bonding between children and parents is unique. Okay, it is inseparable. Then in the story, there is a child. He happened to go to a fair or a countryside exhibition along with his parents, and he happened to see different kind of people with beautiful dresses and colorful toys and sweets, garlands, next to colorful balloons, and the snake charmers blowing pipe towards the snake dancing, and the beautiful fields and everything. And he stopped everywhere. Whatever he wanted, he asked his parents. Whenever he happened to see the beautiful toys, he stopped there and asked his parents, uh, Mummy, Daddy, I want that toy. But his parents never listened to him because they know that he was very greedy. And so he again stopped at the sweet shop, at the balloons, and at the toys. And when he happened to see the beautiful butterflies and insects flying over, and the merry-go-round, and the feats performed by the snake charmer, and everything fascinated him, attracted him very much. And every time he stopped there and requested his parents that he wanted to see the uh, feet, he wanted to eat barfi, gulab jam, jalebi, rasagulla, and some other sweets. And he wanted to buy the balloons, he wanted to buy the garlands or the flowers from the vendors, and he wanted everything that he had seen. But his parents did not accept his request, did not buy anything, because they understood that he is very greedy and he feels that he wanted everything that he sees. That's why they paid no heed or attention to him. Okay, and finally, as he was standing and observing everything around him, he lost his parents. He missed his parents, and he worried a lot. He got frightened, not finding his parents, and so he searched here and there for his parents, but no use. He could not find his parents, and the moment he understood or he came to know that he lost his parents, he ran this way and that way. He entered the crowds and he cried bitterly, but he could not find. Finally, when he was moving through the crowd and he was pushed by some people, then unfortunately a man saved him and he carried him away, and he wanted to console him, and he took him to the toy shop and offered him toys which he wanted earlier. But he said, I don't want the toys, I want only my father, I want only my mother. And he also took him to the colorful balloons and the flowers, and the sweets, all that he wanted earlier. But he did not pay any attention. He did not want what he wanted earlier. He said that he wanted only his mother, he wanted only his father. Okay, from this we understand the bonding between the children and parents is inseparable. That means noble and unique. Through this lesson, the lost child, the writer wants to highlight it. Okay, now let us start this lesson. I will explain you in detail. Listen to me attentively. Look, it was the festival of spring. From the wintry shades of narrow lanes, and Elise emerged gaily clad humanity. Some walked, some rode on horses, others sat, being carried in bamboo and bullock carts. One little boy ran between his father's legs brimming over with life and laughter. So here it was a festive of spring. Spring is one of the seasons in a year, and it is the beautiful of all the seasons. Okay, greenery and beautiful things, attractive things can be seen by us from the wintry shades of narrow lanes. The lanes are very narrow, congested. Alleys also mean the same only. The passage between two buildings are two trees or two lanes. Emerged gaily clad. Gaily means happily, pleasantly. Clad means clothed or dressed. Humanity, a symbol of human beings. So all the people visited the fair, and that continued a long way through narrow lanes, alleys, and that was being winter season. uh, Everything looked very fine and attractive. The fields and the sky and the clouds looked very attractive and fine. So the people all looked very well, very beautifully dressed in colored clothes. Some walked among them, some people walked, some rode on horses. People came in different ways, in different transport systems. Some people came on foot, and some came by horses. That means road. The passions of ride is road. Some rode on horses, others sat watching what's happening there, being carried in bamboo and bullock carts, and some people were transported or reached the place through bullock carts. And one little boy among them, he is the protagonist of this story, very important character. One little boy ran between his father's legs. He was simply being very small or little in height. He was just moving through his father's legs. How? Brimming over. That means to be so full of a liquid that it flows over the edge. But in this context, brimming over means feeling very excited, filled with a lot of pleasure and enjoyment. Why? Because he is going to see the fair there, beautiful things there. With life and laughter, he was very vigorous, he was very lively and energetic, and he was laughing like anything, because he was very happy that he is going to see something beautiful along with his parents. Come, child, come, called his parents as he lagged behind, fascinated by the toys in the shops that lined the way. So, the parents call him because he stops everywhere. Means whenever he sees something new, and he stopped there, and his parents started calling him. Why are you standing here? Come on, come, child, come, let's go. Call his parents as he lagged behind. Lagged behind means was left behind, was not moving, he was standing still, observing the things around him. Fascinated by. Fascinated means very much attracted. And the toys in the shops that lined the way. So number of shops were there, and in some shops we found beautiful toys, colorful toys, which are arranged in an attractive way, and he was very much uh, fond of those toys, and he stopped there looking at them, and he requested his parents, he pleaded his parents to buy those toys for him. Okay, next, he hurried towards his parents, his feet obedient to their call, his eyes still lingering, lasting for a long time on the receding toys. As he came to where they had stopped to wait for him, he could not suppress the desire of his heart, even though he well knew the old, cold stare of refusal in their eyes. So, what does the writer want to tell us through these lines? He, that means a little boy, hurried, means moved very quickly towards his parents, because he was stopping here and there looking at the beautiful toys and the things around him, and his parents were moving, and so he also moved or ran to his parents, his feet obedient to their call, because the parents are stopping here and there and looking back whether their kid is coming or not, their child is coming or not, and calling him, and so he reluctantly, though he is not willing, he is moving from the place. He is following his parents, obedient to their call, very faithful to their instructions. His eyes still lingering. What's the meaning of lingering here? Lasting for a long time. But though he is moving, following his parents, his interest or curiosity is what he had seen on the beautiful things such as toys that he had seen earlier. He wanted to buy them, but his parents are not willing to buy. On the receding means left behind as he walked ahead. That means the toys and the beautiful things that he had seen still in his memory. As he came to where they had stopped to wait for him, he could not suppress, means control or put to an end. He could not suppress or control his desire of his heart. What is the desire? That he wanted to buy the beautiful and colorful toys. Even though he well knew the world cold without any feeling of affection. What's the meaning of this cold without any feelings of affection? Stare of refusal in their eyes. That means his parents were not listening to his request. So they were very apathetic, or they were not sympathetic, and so they did not buy anything for the child, though he was requesting. Okay, stare of refusal means that they rejected, and that cruelty and the stern feeling was clearly seen in their eyes. I want the toy, he pleaded. His father looked at him, red-eyed, in his familiar tyrant's way. A tyrant is a cruel and oppressive ruler. What's the meaning of the pleaded here? Requested, urged. The boy requested his parents that to buy him a toy, that he wanted the colorful toys. He was very fond of them. But his father looked at him, red-eyed means very angrily, with a lot of fury, means he became furious. In his familiar tyrant's way. Tyrant means nothing but a cruel or oppressive ruler. Here the father being very cruel because the child cannot stop or restore or control himself, and he wants everything that he sees, and the parent understood, especially father understood that he was very possessive, and so he did not want to pay attention to his request and did not buy anything. His mother, melted by the free spirit of the day, was tender, and giving him her finger to hold, said, "Look, child, what's before you?" It was a flowering mustard field, pale, like melting gold, and it swept across miles and miles of even land. But mother was somewhat being compassionate, sympathetic, and tried to console him. What did she say? Melted means became tender and loving. So love and affection softly called him by the free spirit of the day, was tender means very sensitive and delicate, and giving him her finger. Okay, come on, we will see. There's a lot of beautiful things we have to see ahead of us. So move forward, move quickly, giving him her finger to hold, to support. Catch my finger and let's go, or else you may miss us. You may miss the way. Said, "Look, child." How did she console the child? How did mother try to divert him? "Look, child, what's before you? You are stopping here only. There's a lot of beautiful things to see ahead of you." It was a flowering mustard field. See how beautiful the mustard field. What's the color? Pale. That means dull and colorless, and everything is everything looks as if it is painted in yellow color, like melting gold, gold which is being melted. And as it swept across miles and miles of even land, and it appears like the carpet that is remaining, or that laid on the land, and looks very beautiful. So mother showed the child to look at the beautiful fields ahead of him. Next, a group of dragonflies were bursting about on their gaudy purple wings, intercepting the flight of a lone black bee or butterfly in search of sweetness from the flowers. The child followed them in the air with his gaze till one of them would still its wings and rest and he would try to catch it. So what happened next? A group of dragonflies, a beautiful insects that fly in the sky. Some people think that the sight of these butterflies may predict the coming rainfall. So a group of dragonflies were burst, means moving this way and that way in the air, about on their way. So the child looked at them. Gaudy means extremely bright and showy, very attractive, very beautiful, and their wings are purple in color. Look very attractive. Intercepting the flight. Flight means the act of moving. They are moving in the air, and how? Intercepting the flight of a lone black bee or butterfly in search of sweetness from the flowers. So they may moving this way and that way, and some are moving in between them. Flight of lone black bee or butterfly. Why? In search of sweetness from the flowers. What do they need? What is their food? Honey, nectar. So they are going in search of some food such as nectar or honey. And the child followed them in the air with his gaze, means with a constant and fixed look. He was very much attracted at their flight, till one of them would still its wings and rest, and he would try to catch. So he wanted them to catch, but they were flying, and so he stopped. He waited until one of the insects, one of the bees, stand still. See, one of them would still, it means become steady or stop its flight, its wings, and rest, and he would try to catch it. So he started chasing it, but it would go fluttering, flopping up into the air, but he could not catch it because it started moving and fluttering its wings this way and that way, up and down, and started flying very quickly, and the boy could not catch it. When he had almost caught it, when the boy almost caught the insect in his hand, then his mother gave a cautionary call. The boy was about to catch it. Then what happened? He had the mother's call. Cautionary call means nothing but a warning call, giving an intimation. What did she say? Come, child, come. Come onto the footpath. Why are you standing there? What are you doing there? Come along with us. So he missed the butterfly. He missed the insect. Of course, dragonfly. He ran towards his parents gaily and walked abreast of them for a while, being however soon left behind, attracted by the little insects and worms along the footpath that were streaming out from their hiding places to enjoy the sunshine. So, as he could not stop or avoid their parents' instructions, he ran towards his parents. The little child ran towards his parents happily. Gaily means happily, and walked abreast. What's the meaning of abreast? Walking abreast, nothing but walking side by side and facing the same way along with their parents. Of them for a while, for a little time, being however soon left behind, and once again he was back. He could not accompany or go along with his parents or parallelly. Soon left behind, attracted by the little insects. And again, when he was going, again he was fascinated and attracted by the beautiful insects as shown in the picture. And he stopped there again, looking at them, the way they fly, looking insects and worms along the footpath where they were walking, that were teeming out. Teeming out means to pour or empty out. That means they are coming out of their nests. These insects are coming out of their nest or shelter for what? From their hiding places to enjoy the sunshine, because they want to enjoy the beautiful nature and sunshine, everything. So they are coming out, and the boy was attracted very much by looking at these insects. Come, child, come. Where is stopping frequently? His parents called from the shade of a grove. What's the meaning of a grove? A grove is nothing but a small wood or group of trees, a cluster of trees, where they had seated themselves on the edge of a well. He ran towards them. Why are you stopping? Come, move quickly. Let's sit in the shade of the trees. Here's the that atmosphere is very pleasant. Come on, let's come and sit here. Let's relax. So the boy ran towards them. A shower of young flowers fell upon the child as he entered the grove, and forgetting his parents, he began to gather the raining petals in his hand. But lo, he heard the cooing of doves and ran towards his parents, shouting the dove. The raining petals dropped from his forgotten hands. And what attracted him again? So, a shower of young flowers. So, some petals of the flowers which were detached from the flowers started falling from air upon the child, and they were falling on him as he entered the grove. As he went very close to the grove, intending to sit there, he happened to see the falling flowers, of course the young flowers with beautiful colors, and forgetting his parents. Again he forgot his parents. Again he was very much engrossed and fascinated, and he began to gather the raining petals which were falling above him in his hands, and he started collecting them. But lo, of course, exclaiming surprisingly, he heard the cooing of doves and ran towards his parents. And once again he diverted, and he heard the cooing means the crying of the birds. The birds, doves were making a lot of noise, and he happened to see them and listen to them. And again he ran towards his parents, catching the little collection of the petals, parts of the flower. The raining petal dropped from his forgotten hands. Of course, without his knowledge, unknowingly, he dropped the petals that he collected, and he went in search of the doves. See how he was attracted at various things that he happened to see. Come, child, come, they called to the child, who had now gone running in wild capers. Again he stopped there, and again he is not moving with his parents. Again parents called him, come child, come. They means the parents called to the child who had now gone. He stopped. Where? Gone running into wild capers, a playful skipping movement round the banyan tree. And there was nearby a banyan tree, and he started going round it, looking at it. And gathering him up, they took the narrow winding footpath which led to the fair through the mustard fields. And so once again they collected the boy, and they moved forward through the winding means bending or curved footpath which led to the fair through the mustard fields. And hereafter the field, they have to move through the fields which is full of mustard flowers and look very beautiful. As they came close to the village, the child could see many other footpaths full of throngs. Previously they walked along a footpath. Now as they came close to the village, and the child could see many footpaths which are very, very beautiful and filled with a lot of people. He could see a few people earlier along the footpath, but now as he neared the village, came close to the village, he could see huge crowds means lot of people, lot of gathering of the people. Converging means gathering to the whirlpool of the fair. That means it looks like a big collection of air, a twist of air. So lot of people were there who visited the village to enjoy the fair, and left at once repelled and fascinated by the confusion of the world he was entering. And he was very much attracted, and he felt very astonished to look at this kind of beautiful or huge crowds of people wearing colorful dresses and moving forward. A sweet meat seller hawked, and nearby, as he was moving, he heard the cry or shouting of a person who is selling sweets. A sweet meat seller hawked means started calling or crying over gulab jamun, rasagulla, burfi, jalebi at the corner of the entrance, and a crowd pressed around his counter at the foot of an architecture of many colored sweets decorated with leaves of silver and gold. So there were number of sweets which are listed here: gulab jam, rasagulla, burfi, jalebi, etc. And he arranged them very beautifully, and he wrapped them, covered them with the beautiful silver and gold, what do you call them, rafters or beautiful colorful papers. And the child started open eyed, and his mouth watered for the burfi. That was his favorite sweet, and he liked the burfi very much. And so he happened to see the burfi was being sold by the hawker there, and he felt like eating it, and he started saying, "I want that burfi, I want that burfi," slowly murmured, because he wanted to eat them. He was very fond of. But you know that we all audience know, readers know, that his parents will not buy him anything because they thought he was very greedy. But he half knew as he begged that his plea, please means request, would not be heeded. Means heed means pay attention. So even he asked repeatedly, he was sure that his parents would not buy him anything or listen to him, because his parents would say he was greedy. Okay, that he wanted everything that he sees. So they are not trying to buy anything to him. My child will ask in this way, he wants everything. So they pay no attention to his request. So without waiting for an answer, he moved on. He understood that his parents would not, however, buy anything. So he lost hope and moved on. Next, a flower selling hawker a garland of gulmohar. The child seemed irresistibly drawn. He went towards the basket where the flowers lay heaped, and half murmured, "I want that garland." Again, he happened to see the garlands made of gulmohar flowers, which appeared very beautifully, attractively, and once again he was very, very much fascinated, and he wanted to buy the flowers. And he started saying, he murmured, he said to himself, "I want that garland, I want that garland." But he well knew his parents would never buy him the balloons. He happened to say balloons also mean well, colorful balloons. But he understood, he was confident, he was sure that his parents would not buy anything such as sweets, toys, flowers, balloons. But he was very crazy, or he was fond of to purchase them, because they would say he was too old to play with such toys. Okay, and it's not just the age that you play with this kind of toys, you are grown up. So he walked on further, he moved on. A snake charmer stood playing a flute to a snake which coiled itself in a basket, its head raised in a graceful bend like the neck of a swan, while the music stole into its invisible ears like the gentle rippling an invisible waterfall. And what happened? Once again, he came across a snake charmer's feats. And what was he doing? A snake charmer stood playing a flute. You can look into the picture. He was blowing the pipe, and the snake is just moving rhythmically, and it coiled itself around itself in a basket, and all the people stood there looking at the wonderful thing, and how the snake is just coiling, and how it's moving gracefully and bending towards the direction of the music. And while the music stole into the invisible ears like the gentle rippling of invisible ear, and the boy stood there, and he was once again attracted or fascinated or engrossed into what's happening there, and he paid a lot of attention to that and stood there. The child went towards the snake charmer, but knowing his parents had forbidden, means not allowed him to hear such coarse, unpleasant. Coarse means unpleasant. Okay, unacceptable music. As the snake charmer played, he proceeded further. That means the boy, a lot of curiosity went towards the snake charmer. He wanted to see the feet, and but he knew that his parents are forbidden means not allowing, or they prohibited him. They simply instructed him not to go to such kind of feats, and not to listen such kind of music. They strictly warned him, and so, not knowing to do anything, he followed his parents. Of course, he started crying also that he could not get anything that he wanted. There was a roundabout in full swing. Men, women, and children carried away in a wild motion, shrieked and cried with dizzy laughter. The child watched them intently, and then he made a bold request. I want to go on the roundabout. Please, father, mother. Once again, he happened to see a roundabout. That means a merry-go-round, which children are crazy to climb over it and move around it. And that boy also happened to see, and he had also a strong desire to go around the swing. Men, women, and children carried away, and it was moving around it like a spinning top. Shrieked means cried happily with a lot of excitement, and dizzy laughter, and the people were laughing and crying and filled with excitement as they were going on the roundabout, the swing. The child watched them intently, means with a lot of curiosity, lot of attention and curiosity, and then he made a bold request. He courageously and confidently requested his parents, I want to go on the roundabout. I also want to get into that and enjoy myself. Please, father, mother. But you know that they would not listen to him. There was no reply. His parents did not reply. He turned to look at his parents, but he did not get any reply to his request. And so he casually turned back to find his parents, but they were not there. Ahead of him, he did not find his parents. To his surprise, they were missing. He turned to look on either side. He looked this way and that way, but he could not find his parents. They were not there. They have gone somewhere. He looked behind. There was no sign of them. He searched here and there for his parents, but no use. A full deep cry rose within his dry throat, and with a sudden jerk of his body, he ran from where he stood, crying in real fear, Mother, Father. So he started crying, feeling a lot of unhappiness as he could not find his mother and father. As children of that age usually do when they don't find their parents, he also started crying, shouting, running this way and that way, looking his parents, in search of his parents, but no use. Tears rolled down from his eyes, hot and fierce. His flushed face was convulsed with fear. Panic stricken, he ran to one side first, then to the other, hither and thither, in all directions, knowing not where to go. Mother, father, he waited. So he became very much frightened, not knowing where his parents were. So he started crying, tears rolled down from his eyes, and how they are hot and fierce means causing a lot of terror or fear. His flushed face also became very red in color due to the unhappiness or sadness, was convulsed with fear, shook. He shook with a lot of fear, uh, not finding his parents. Panic stricken, that means he was in a lot of confusion, okay, and dilemma, not knowing what to do. He ran to one side first. He ran to one side looking his parents, and came back and ran to the other side. Hither and thither means here and there. He went every direction. He went in every direction in search of his parents, but he could not find his parents. He just called mother, father, and he wailed means cried bitterly. His yellow turban came untied, and his clothes became muddy. So, see, compare the two pictures. How did he look at the beginning or till now? And suddenly his yellow turban, means the cloth which is tied around him like a cap, untied means got lost, or it was unfastened or untied, or it was almost removed, and his clothes became muddy as he started running this way and that way in search of his parents. And he could not observe the change that has come in his get-up or attire, but he wanted only his mother and father. Having run to and fro in a rage of running for a while, he started running this way and that way with a lot of rage, means here nothing but excitement and anger. Running for a while, he stood defeated. Of course, he made all the attempts to find his parents, but no use, and so he felt failed. That means defeated, that he could not get his parents. His cries suppressed into sobs. Now, previously he started crying early, very bitterly and loudly. Now he just started crying slowly and wiping his tears. At little distances on the green grass, he could see through his filmy eyes man and woman talking. So he just glanced ahead of him, and what he could see there through his filmy eyes means that eyes which were covered with partly with tears, which are not clear. He could see some men and women, they were simply sitting and talking and chatting there, but could not find his parents. He tried to look intently, means carefully, attentively, among the patches of bright yellow clothes, whether he could get his parents or not. But there was no sign or indication of his father and mother among these people. But his efforts were useless. He could not find his parents, who seemed to laugh and talk just for the sake of laughing and talking. And many people gathered there. Say, it seemed that their enjoyment is artificial, not natural. Of course, they seemed to be laughing and talking. That was all of not natural, unnatural. He ran quickly again, this time to shrine, means to a temple nearby. He went to a temple nearby, to which people seemed to be crowding. There is a lot of crowd, number of people were standing there, and every little inch of space here was congested with men, but he ran through people's legs, his little sob lingering. Mother, father, near the entrance to the temple. However, the crowd became very thick. Men jostled, means pushed each other. Heavy men, heavy means strong men are there, and with flashing murderous eyes, and those are very powerful, and the eyes are filled with redness and appear to be cruel, and hefty means large and heavy shoulders. So he ran towards the temple nearby uh, in search of his parents, and the way the total uh, place is filled with a lot of people, and could not find his father and mother, and he was pushed by the people, and he did not find any way also to move through the crowd. He was pushed by people there, and he found that strong men and women moving in the crowds. The poor child struggled to thrust. Thrust means push, causing a force away between their feet, but knocked means hit, and to and fro by their brutal, means cruel or harsh or rough movements. He might have been trampled or crushed underfoot had he not shrieked at the highest pitch of his voice, "Father, mother!" A man in the surging. Surging means powerful here. That means the people in the crowd are moving with a lot of force or power, and he fell down, and he was about to be stepped by them, and then he shouted, he cried very loudly, "Father, mother!" Then a man happened to see this kid or the child. What happened? A man in the surge crowd, means the crowd which was moving with a lot of force, heard his cry and stopping with great difficulty. He stopped the boy with a lot of great difficulty, and causing no harm to him, lifted him up in his arms, and he carried him up and saved him. Otherwise, if that man did not save him, he would have been crushed by under their feet. How did you get here, child? He just asked him. Why did you come here? Why are you alone? What brought you here? Whose baby are you? Who are your parents? The man asked as he steered clear to the mass. That means he came out of the group of people there, crowd. The child wept, means cried bitterly than ever. Now and only cried, I want my mother, I want my father. He is not trying to give any answer to the questions that the man is asking. And he only says, I want my mother, I want my father. Whatever he asks, he says that only. The man tried to soothe, relax or comfort. Soothe means relax or comfort. He tried to console him. He tried to convince him by taking him to the roundabout that which he wanted to enjoy earlier, and he offered him, will you have a ride on this horse? No, he gently asked as they approached the ring. The child's throat tore into 1,000 still shops and he only shouted. And now he is not interested in enjoying that. He says, I want my mother, I want my father. He did not pay any attention. All his likes now became his dislikes. The man headed towards the place where the snake charmer still played on the flute to the swaying cobra. Listen to the nice music, child, he pleaded, means requested, but the child shut his ears with his fingers and shouted his double pitched strain, means using a lot of force. Double pitched strain means using a lot of force. I want my mother, I want my father. So previously you are aware of that, you know the fact that he stopped there to look at the beautiful feat performed by the snake charmer. But now even the man took him to the place and asked him to listen to the nice music, and that boy was not interested, and so he only wanted his mother and father. Now his concentration in everything is finding his father and mother and not on anything that he was interested earlier. The man took him near the balloons, thinking the bright colors of the balloons would distract the child's attention and quieten him. So the man also took this child. He carried him to the beautiful flowers and balloons and all that he had seen earlier, because he thought that these vigorous and vibrant colors of these balloons and flowers will make him calm and forget the pain, and he would stop crying, and asked him, would you like a rainbow colored balloon? Here beautiful balloons are there, which color you want? He persuasively, means convincingly, asked. The child turned his eyes. No, I don't want. He is now reluctant to buy anything, but he was very much interested to buy them earlier. Now see how his taste changed. The child turned his eyes from the flying balloons and just sobbed, started wiping his tears that were flowing through cheeks. I want my mother, I want my father. Next, the man still trying to make the child happy. The man tried his level best to console the child and to make him happy. Bore means the passions of bear, means carried him to the gate where the flower seller, previously he had seen the garlands which were made with the gulmohar flowers, and he wanted to buy them. Now, look, can you smell those nice flowers, child? Would you like a garland to put around your neck? The child turned his nose away from the basket and reiterated, means repeated, his sob. I want my mother, I want my father. It means he is not interested in buying anything that he wanted earlier. So he had a strong dislike, because now he wanted only father and mother, not anything that he liked earlier. Thinking to humor, he is disconsolate. Disconsolate means here very unhappy and unable to be comforted. Humor means fun, entertainment. So he wanted to give him some kind of entertainment and convince him. Deconsolate means the kid is very unhappy, the child is unhappy, and it is very difficult for the man to console him. Charge, a person or thing entrusted to care someone. Now that man took care of him because he started carrying him everywhere and trying to offer something to stop him crying by offering some sweets and balloons, flavors, etc. And nothing he entrusted him. By a gift of sweets, the man took him to the counter of the sweet shop, which he liked very much, and he wanted to eat that burfi and everything. What sweets would you like, child? He asked. You know that? Do you remember? Previously, he stopped there and he felt like eating that burfi, and he asked his parents to buy him that sweet. But now the child turned his face from the sweet shop and only sobbed, and again started crying and wiping out his tears. And as usual, he said, "I want my mother, I want my father, I don't want anything." From this, you understand nothing could stop the child crying. He wanted to see his parents, but whatever he liked earlier, whatever he strongly insisted on buying and requested his parents, now, though the man tried to offer him all the things that he wanted, he did not like them. He was reluctant to enjoy them or have them because now he understood the importance of parents. The bonding between the parents and children is very unique. That means it is inseparable. Of course, we are in the presence of parents and we are living with them, so we don't know the importance of the parents, the bond between the children and parents. The moment the parents miss the children, and the moment the children miss the parents, they come to know how difficult it is. Okay, so through this story, the writer wants to convey the beautiful bonding between the children and parents. Nothing is important to children, everything is after all. First importance they give to parents. Okay, thank you very much.